Committee on Gender, Health, Internal Affairs, and Judiciary for a single purpose that has been sent to the House of Representatives, an act to bind all harmful practices within the Republic of Liberia. So with this, I'd like to move to the opening remarks, and I'd like to welcome Honorable Mama Briggs Menza, Joint Committee Chairperson.
We are here today on the expert and legislative consultative review section, and we're going to be here for the next 2 days discussing the issue. Today is kind of intense. We hear from all of our stakeholders. We hear from our government areas. We hear from our partners that have been working with this bill or been working with this issue of discrimination long time. They will give all the partners and in a section their own intent and how they see we can go about it. We also hear from our Justice Minister who has just called me and said he was called to the mansion, but the deputy, she's on her way coming and she will join us soon. And we want to say, let every one of us give our opinion on this matter, because when it comes to harmful cultural practices and discrimination, and in one way or the other, we all are affected. So it's not only a legislator issues, it's also every one of us issue. And let me use this video to also appreciate the president as a female and chair on the gender committee to say we were given a hand of applause for taking a bold step, for having the political will to look at this issue that other people saw as a taboo, to bring forth this matter on that will protect our girls and our women. We are here, we need all of your opinion as legislators who work for the people. We don't work on our own, and whatever information you gave us going to help to buttress our job to see how best we can do the right thing in the interest of the Liberian people. And let me say this, we have not come to take away our culture. We are not coming in any way to disrespect our traditional people. We are not coming in any way to say we don't want our culture and our traditional practices to exist. But we have come to look for those harmful ones that are made other people to shy away from our culture, to work on it, and it will be better for everybody, and it will be an inclusive one for we all to be involved. So thank you again to my colleagues, to the ministers that have been here since this morning. We say thanks so much, the Deputy Minister for Gender, the Assistant Minister for Education, everyone of them, the ministers would have loved to be here, but they also have other engagement that they on right now that was planned before this meeting, and they asked that they have their deputies here to sit with us, and they also will be telling us as executive arm where this bill came from, where they want us to go, how they want us to approach it, and what are those supports we're going to get to make sure to enhance our job, to reach out to our people to make the right decisions. So thank you again to members of the Fourth Estate, all of our supporting staff, our international partners, our partners, Wamboso, the rest of the team. Every one of you, we appreciate you, and thanks for being here. We look forward to a comprehensive meeting, and thanks to Action Aid for also their support to this program, and Wamboso also their support, and we need every one of you help to make sure that this will be fruitful and will be done properly, and everything. The Women Legislative Caucus, UN Women, and the team, and every one of you people that have come together to help us to work with this. We look forward to you coming for us to make sure that this law will be properly done, and we all will come together to do the best in the interest of Liberia.
This act name and star to women, Women and Girls Protection Act of 2025 has some key sensitive issues that as lawmakers we will be addressing. And to address those issues, we have to be sensitive. This bill in itself does not seek to eradicate our traditional practices. If we go into it, what it seeks to eradicate are harmful practices. The introduction of this bill, the first thing that our people out there will be thinking is whether it's going to eradicate our Sunday society, which have served as the foundation of our social lives over hundreds of years, especially for our women. From our perspective as the House of Representatives, while we are taking oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, we are equally so on obligation to make sure that the social lives of our people will continue. What all of us seated here need to do and need to think about is the kind of messaging that will be sending out there. Because if the messaging is wrong, we'll meet a lot of resistance. If we develop the appropriate messaging, we'll have a lot of partners and champions out there who will join us. And to move forward, let us register to our partners that hearing, like the one we're having today, we'll need several of them, and we'll need a lot of consultations. Because at the end of the day, even though it's a 3 or 4 page bill, but it's striking. It's going to be touching the core of the way of life of a majority of our citizens. And so the Joint Committee, as you deliberate on this instrument and work along with our partners, we want you to be sensitive. Or equally so, we must also know that Liberia as a nation, a member of the Committee of Nations, has signed on to a number of protocols. Those protocols, some of which we have ratified as legislature.
We need to be intentional about the message that we are going to develop going forward. But we also really have to be keen on the drivers of the message, the carriers of the message in the communities. They are going to play a very, very critical role, and we really need to think through that. At the Ministry of Gender, we have the policy dialogue platform, and before coming here, we were thinking we can use the platform to really take some time to look at the act, but also craft advocacy messages that will be consistent as we go in the communities. And that Ministry of Health going in the community to say something else, and one of the partners going to say something completely different. The messaging has to be consistent from partner to partner, from government to government, from community to community. The messaging really has to be the same. I think also that this gathering is coming at a very critical time too, where the president was just at the UNGA and made a very bold statement on ending FGM. Liberia also has signed up to be a trailblazer country under the Beijing Plus 30 platform for action. And what that means is Liberia has signed up to lead on 2 key things going forward, especially around gender equality. That is ending violence against women and girls, and investing in young women and girls and future generations. So this is aligned with or to what we intend to do as a country. When you read the AID also, which is the national blueprint that guides what we do, especially our work in the executive, it clearly states that by 2029, we should be ending FGM and other harmful practices.
We're still on political leadership remarks. We'll take the Ministry of Education.
We extend our appreciation to His Excellency, President Joseph Boakai, and the drafters of this progressive legislation, which seeks to protect the rights and well-being of all Liberians, especially women and children. As a ministry charged with nurturing the minds and future of our young people, we recognize that education cannot flourish in environments where harmful practices persist. Child marriage, female genital mutilation, and other forms of discrimination remain significant barriers to access, retention, and completion of schooling, particularly for girls. From this education sector's perspective, this draft act provides an opportunity to strengthen the link between child protection and education. It aligns with our commitment to achieving Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education, and Goal 5, gender equality, as well as Liberia's obligations under the Convention of the Rights of the Child, as mentioned by the Deputy Minister from Gender, and the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and the Maputo Protocol. The Ministry supports the intent of this legislation and recommends that its implementation be complemented by education and awareness programs within schools, communities, to change social norms around harmful practices.
On behalf of the Women Legislative Caucus, I want to give you words. We have heard the issue of FGM for so many years, but I can say clearly that it is a step forward, a giant step now, considering that it was announced by our President of the Republic of Liberia. It shows the willingness and how intentional he is to have spoken on an international platform about this practice. While we are cognizant that we do not want to get rid of our tradition, but we also need to ensure the safety of our people. So just to add our voice to the many voices, we are open to having these discussions, but we cannot leave our traditional leaders behind. We always need to have them on board as we are doing now. We have to take it to the districts, to the counties, so that we all can participate and know the way forward. So I just want to say thanks to every one of us for being here today, and we will continue to work together to ensure that we all live in peace and harmony and continue to enjoy our cultural practice, but in line with the well-being of our citizens. Thank you.
Someone said a lot of women are coming forth. Of course, if you have Billy Goat, then you should be the one talking Billy Goat story. So as we're talking about female genital mutilation, I think the people that are really supposed to be talking about it obviously should be females. So it's a real opportunity to be here and to see that after many years of talking about this issue, we're now taking actions. Congratulations to all of those that are making this happen. So representing the ministry, which obviously if this law comes into effect, will be responsible for prosecuting violators. We've made it our business to kind of like peruse it from beginning to end. And we're glad to be here to look at it together with everyone else. As soon as I sat down, I started writing in what I saw was already my observations in the proposed bill. So like I said, it's going to be short, and it is short. It's a real opportunity to be here today, to be a part of this process. a process that does not take away from our constitutional provision that talk about positive Liberian tradition, but a process that will enhance the well-being of girls as well as maintaining what is really positive for our culture. Thank you very much.
I'll move to our first section. Remember I said the first section is going to be sent to the second. As per our agenda, the second is going to be moved to the first. So I'd like to welcome the Action Aid Liberia to give us shared story, to present on shared stories.
I put together some short documentary from Voices at the Margin, just to share with you that this is not just coming from us at Action Aid. At Action Aid, we work through community structures. We are not the one that are going to take the message. The Minister of Gender said a very key thing about who are the messengers, who are the ones to carry this message. So we'll be hearing from some of the stakeholders from the community that carry the message. FGM, as we all talk about it needs to help in the psychosocial impact. It has help in psychosocial impact. You are going to get some of these key facts from the technical experts that will be presenting, but from just the interviews, from the engagement with the community structures, what we hear is that it usually states that it causes pain, it leads to infection, childbirth. Now we're talking about the maternal mortality rate of Liberia. Liberia is one of the countries with the highest maternal mortality rates. 742 live births out of every 100,000. So we, as a country, need to reduce that. It has complications also, and lasting psychological trauma, especially for those who are forcefully adopted. Girls' education, our representative from the Ministry of Education spoke about it. Girls in the rural areas are left behind due to the interface of the bush school with the formal school. Now we move into some communities, we see that girls have left school in active school sessions. Now they have moved themselves to the bush school. And just because of the cultural practices that are ongoing there, how does they have impact on us all in Liberia? It leads to the high dropout rates, and after that, what next? Early marriage, teenage pregnancy, and also the dependency syndrome. Because if you have girls who are not empowered and educationally, they depend on their spouses and their husband for some hours. They will end up just becoming housewives and not taking that bold step to move forward and achieve the greater aspects of their life. This is a collective effort. It's a collective responsibility. It's not just the responsibility of the lawmakers, but we as civil society, we as other government stakeholders, even the communities that we work with, we all are in this together.
It is not good. So what do you want us to do, or the government to do, for anything you think we can do to help? Yes, this is what I'm saying, to stop the mothers that are taking their children. But none of that, no force. Action taking our community, action taking our community, pay my phone. Action taking. Because none of them are Christian with their honor. Our co-opponent, who can put around their families and families, and sometimes they do your defense. They don't want to our rest homes, none of them make it business, to bring our ability. None of them are still about development driving.
We'll turn to Julie to were from the African Regional Coordinator on to end harmful practices from equality now. Julia, are you there? So Julia D has
Yeah,
been
good afternoon, Anderson. This is Divya. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can, all of us.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to present before you all, and we're really very excited. A brief look at the background, and then look at what the legal response to FGM has looked like in other countries, and then look at what are the elements of a good anti-FGM law, as well as an implementation framework. And then finally looking at regional best practices, as well as opportunities and recommendations. I'm sure you all know the definition of FGM, so I'm not going to repeat it. I think we just wanted to bring in a little bit of the global context. So UNICEF estimates that there are 230 million women and girls across the world who have been subjected to female genital mutilation. And while the largest share of this population is in Africa, which is 144 million women and girls, actually this is a global practice, and we know that there is prevalence of FGM even in other continents, including particularly in Asia and the Middle East. So it's a global practice, and what we do know in terms of the drivers wherever it occurs, though it might be justified for different regions, whether it's cultural, social, or religious norms, there is an element usually of the aim to control women and girls and their sexuality, and the underlying discriminatory gender norms which drive FGM.
Process, and we also ask that you are on the journey with us until we achieve the necessary intent and be parallel to the best practices that we all want to see in Liberia. Thank you. We look forward to receiving your presentation. It's also going to help us very well in our own work as we work as a joint committee. You're welcome anytime. Your inputs are very important. We look forward to you linking us to a lot of other people that will be a help to this process and support to every one of us all. And as we pass this law, we need every one of you hands on that we all can look. So the legislators and the committees and all of our stakeholders that are here are very grateful to you. And we look forward to receiving your presentation. Any other question, we will reach out to you to see what can be done. Thanks a lot.
Today, we have, in our legal system, we have two laws. We have the customary law and the one we call is the civil law, or the one that is being practiced by our court system. Today, the court recognizes our customary law. And today you found out that the code recognizes that if you do a traditional marriage, you can get married to 2-3 wives. At the same time, being recognized by law in this country. But those things are not being written in terms of having the codification of the law that will say that there is the limit. So many of the interpretations are left with the court. Because if you have a traditional issue that arises, the only place that you can go to have a clear indication of what is considered a positive Liberian culture or a negative Liberian culture lies squarely within the jurisdiction and the knowledge of the court. Because we do not have specific laws that says you should marry 2 wives or female genital mutilation is a crime, we don't have this law. But the Constitution gave the legislature that power to make laws to protect positive Liberian culture. So what we try to, the current bill talk about to ban harmful cultural practices. So we have to distinguish between what is harmful and what is not harmful. So this bill for me, for our understanding, is not to ban traditional practices, but those ones that we think that are not good for our society, for our children. So you legislator, the chairperson and member of the committee here, you have a responsibility to ensure, because I this law alone passing it, there are other issues that may come up in the future that we'll be looking at. But we will have a specific law that deals with small traditional things and it should be. The code now will not have that sweeping power to interpret the law the way they think or the way they think it should work. Community that what's happening today.
When we get the right people in the room to talk here, sometimes it can be easy. So Masita, we want to know from you, how do you think this FGM law or the bill, right now you're not lawyer, the bill, the news that the president has made such a strong position for us to have a law, how your community received it, the traditional community?
I get in a campaign against FGM a long time. I had someone asking the policy statement we have, how the people responded to the policy statement. We can explain today for the understanding of those who are not aware of the reality. When 2019, when UN Women decided to just make a pronouncement, zero tolerance on FGM, luckily for me, through civil society, they invite me as a traditional leader because I was coordinating the 15th county of the Republic of Liberia. When I went, I met the topic where every donor rejoiced and said, yeah, FGM is out of Liberia. I laugh. I see it like a joke, and I didn't have my feeling. And they also select me to be one of the panelists. That opportunity was given to me. So I recommended to them, you know, during Taylor time, he put so much value on Zoom, everybody becomes Zoom everywhere. So at the end of the day, you found people going talking about FGM, they are not the proper people. The approach or the challenge to the campaign, the way people used to got out and say I'm so, they are not so, how did that used to happen? So I advised you young women in 2019. I told them that to enable us really get rid of FGM or pronounce zero tolerance, we're going to get to the custodian. Who are those custodians? The chiefs. I born as a traditional child, and I went to Sunday when I was 7 years old. And I stayed in the bush for 3 years. The rule and regulation going the culture of Paro and Sunday, women had 3 years in the bush, men have 4 years. And I went for 3 years. At that time, the qualification of women without bush school, because you will be prepared for marriage. So our people put so much value on it. It was not commercialized. I'll repeat this again. At that time, FGM was not commercialized. It was something to prepare women for your marriage. So I advise you young women to really get the chief involved. Then they asked me, I went to Chief's answer, I asked him. We went to internal affairs, we mobilized 185 chiefs in Ghana. We talked about it, and the chief came up to say, because they have put too much value on FGM also, everybody become also, everybody opening bushes. Somebody the lesson said that the issue, we don't know who giving it to them. So they cannot sit in that hall and respond. So that's how the asked that we should do a survey to know how many practice areas they have, how many qualified zones we have in Liberia that practicing FGM. So in doing that survey, this is a document, and I've been keeping this document for long because I believe this day will come. Because when we joined the advocacy of saying no to FGM, we were accused by our people. They say UN has given us money. We're not doing it because we saw a handful. We are doing it because we want money, or we have already received the money. So to save us, we came out to say, well, let we get in the bush or bushes to know how many of them practicing and how many practice area they have. As you can see, the first statistic we have for Lofa have 485 zoos. Lofa Kante have 485 zoos. Definitely, if don't qualify zoo, you recognize that day you will have the same number of bushes, 485.
So each of them had their own bush?
Yes.
That was 1 year. Is in 2019?
2019 to 2020. You understand? When you go to Nimba, you have 128. Monserrado have 105. Grand Chile have 62. Grand Cape Man have 125. Bon have 270. Bombi have 172. Bapolu have 85 at the time. Grand Basel have 215. Magibi have 66. Rewase have 55. I call Monserrado have 105.
You said Rewase how many?
Rewase 55. So when we got this number, we asked for another meeting.
What's the total?
I don't think no, I don't total in.
You can share with them.
I didn't know I can share. No, I brought this so that you all can photocopy this, so you all can give me my copy back. The best way we can do this is to create a center called Heritage Center. EMI, the 11 county that practicing Sunday. We started with Cape Mount. From Cape Mount, we came to Monserrado. From Monserrado, we went to Nimba. From Nimba, we went to Lofa. If you can travel in Vera County today, if you go to TNE, you will see the Heritage Center. They got school where you will train the children because we discourage the FGM, the cutting aspect, so that these zones and all of the culture people can go and teach those children how to sing, how to dance, how to know about their culture. They do not they wear the constructed food. If you go to TNE, you see the sing. If you go to Voyama, Vesala, you will find the sing. If you go to Saclay Pied Bankline, you will find the scene. You go to Monserrado, Songeta, you will find the scene. Then we went, we asked, they said, well, it's time for us to get rid of FGM. But let me do the rituals. If you hear they say they ban FGM, that's how it came. The rituals were done in 5 counties. The rituals were done in 5 counties where we went to say close down totally anybody do it, you will go to jail. In 5 counties. We had 11 counties that are practicing. The other 7 counties had not benefited. Election came. After the election, the administration changed. Everything collapsed because of politics. And I want to say in the public manner that government is continuation. Sometimes you'll be doing things, at the end of the day, it may haunt you. Because we are Liberians. I may come from party A, but I'm a Liberian. I'm here to serve my people. Right?
Yeah.
Especially with FGM, they can have sensitive issue. You have to take time how to get to it. At the end of the day, everything just went rampant. Right after the election now, the people said I accept. The souls that accept. They say, oh, that was spoiling our culture, but the other government say anything you want to do. That's a time you hear you are alarming people opening bushes all over.
What we did for was to establish or form a coalition. A coalition are people within the communities. They are stakeholders, they are souls, they are survivors that work directly in the community. So we had them in a group that we call a coalition. The work is to create awareness, so we work directly through them because they are the voice in the community. The souls that are the one that practice the FGM, so we make them to be a champion for this coalition. So they create awareness in the counties, they create awareness in the school, at the marketplaces, they create awareness on the harmful effects of FGM. After that, we noticed that even though we have a ban on FGM, but 65% of the zoos that practice FGM are not aware of the ban. So most of the counties and communities that we went to create the awareness, the zoo will be like, we don't know there's ban on FGM. And some of them will tell us that, but we just register our bush. We have a certificate. So how do you have a certificate when Internal Affairs, through the government, through the Ministry of Internal Affairs, put a ban on FGM, but yesterday, souls are receiving certificate to carry on their bushes. So we went back to Internal Affairs to gather information to know why is it that you have a ban, but yesterday, license have been issued to zoos. Internal Affairs said that they were not aware of that. Meaning it was from the local government. Meaning that local government had that authority, they were issuing a certificate. So working along with the local government, that will bring along the chiefs. Bringing the chiefs and the clan chief in the coalition because they are the one that respected in the counties, so we work directly through them to create the awareness on FGM.
Somebody will say, you know the issue of FGM, when you used to hear that before, because we were attributing the aftermath to witchcraft, because we didn't have the explanation. We didn't have the explanation. We were attributing it to witchcraft. And if you were all and ugly and in the community, everything you owe your head. And so there are several things that come our way as it relates to FGM. We had to transfer 2 young girls. When you look at them, you say, oh, they got good pelvic, they got this, they can born a baby. But they were planning, they went there 18 hours because your first time born a baby, 18 hours is your grace period, they will send you for cesarean. She went for 18 hours and nothing we could do. We had to save her for cesarean. And there was no reason for cesarean section, no reason for cutting her. So there are a lot of health implications.
Speaking of theoretical issue and not being practical, it's a complete mix of the way we approach the issues that is just allowing it to get competed. To have this situation eradicated or minimized must be a joint team. I understand NGO does their part. I mean, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and they're telling us lawmakers also to do our part. Like we be accused that we got budget, some of us, etc. But I think it's a joint teamwork needs to be done. The first thing Article 1 says the power is inherent in the people. Because all of the 103, 73 districts cannot come by the Capitol building. They got representation. So whose voice is to be heard by the citizen? Should be these people part of the team. The health, like our mother spoke about, the health thing has to be a part. The civil society has to be a part. The Ministry of Internal Affairs has to be a part, and NGO have to be a part. A joint team. When the voice is collective, the effect is huge. When it's individualistic, then there are segregations in the process, because what you say, I would say something in contradiction to it. The second thing is, I think it's a compromise with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and I like to be on record about that. She was very indicative of that. She said, how can there be a new, what do you call it? A new certificate giving, authorizing a new zone to establish a bush coming from the Ministry of Internal Affairs with the letterhead or whatever certificate, And then the Internal Affairs Ministry is saying she's not aware. That's a contract, because if the NGO has spoken and the Internal Affairs document is being presented, the NGO word become insignificant to the citizen. So we need to be very much focused and serious to the Ministry of Internal Affairs and to see that she plants her feet on the ground. Is she able to close down that section that is to authorize, permit, or whatever they call it, that section of the Internal Affairs Ministry is being closed, and the information is spread around the country, so wherever you come with certificate is not valid? That's number 2.
Most of the people are on the field touching, the root. And you cannot dissolve this thing with all getting to the root. Because traditionally it is built over years to uproot it. In a process, you will not follow it. You will not follow it. But the NGO come, bring some money, bring some clothes, and bring some things up on the field. So we are here, we want to get rid of the thing, and once it's Zo, they say, Zo. You know Zo? You don't know Zo.
Australia who ask questions about this table. So when you go into the town, check carry the law because they won't live in, they won't know who is who. So when you leave them out, you don't do teamwork, they will show you to the person who pretend to be another new person and messenger. So the collaboration here is what matters. Since you know the person you know, call them and say, carry me to your person. So that the person who living in the town will say, but I made you funny. That they made I got a pumpkin. That they made and take get a pumpkin, but he don't want to be different around the world. So that just the coordination here to know where we're going. So it's important that you have the leaders who are in control of the districts, of the counties to participate, because it's like you living there, so you know who is who.
I think the first thing I will put forward is that the alternative livelihood for the traditional people. Don't leave it outside. Yes. You can't leave it because as soon as you show face, my old man will ask, what you get for us? So it's there. And based on that, what we do actually is that we work with influencers. We work with people who understand the community, people who know who. And in every community we enter, we are not the ones who go to the community. We call for a smaller meeting, we have discussion, and have proper introduction. Because some of these things come up to say, you're meeting the wrong person, everybody are the right person. Yes. So when you read that, it will confuse you. If you don't have a strategy, you will just spin around and leave for their empty, and then the people move on doing their thing. So we have this engagement with the influencers, and then we work with them. They lead us to the right traditional people. And then we tell you, we reach them, we give you the authority to say, oh, we are on your lap. So you be the change champion for us. So in all of the counties that we're working, you see that we have identified change champions. They were former practitioners or practitioners who can move around, who have the authority to go anywhere and talk to anyone. Because if we don't do that and just focus on, maybe just sitting on radio to talk or going in the community having last speaker, the information people will be hearing it. But the right people, when you engage them, they will see it as disrespect. And these change champions, we have built their capacity, we provided them various savings and loans, because most of the time they want money, and they want things to be doing. And we also have our pilot initiative, where some of our mothers are saying, okay, that the only work we know, when you tell us from there now, you get all the money, you say we're making market stay now. So we'll just be sitting at home, we'll not be doing anything. So through this, we've worked with the Ministry of Education in 6 counties, and we're trying to pilot initiative where we have the traditional home arts being taught in after-school programs. And these will just be done by those change champions who were former those. for the mere fact that we're sitting around to want to discuss this, I think we are at the end. Because those days it was never possible. There's no way that you could even come close to where we are. And so I think we are heading in the right direction. It's going to take a lot of work. It's not going to be easy for those of us who know where it is. And even those that don't know, it's even harder because now you cannot even go to your district when you have not been there to even call those and sit and talk with them. That's impossible. So, and those of us who already been there too, it's impossible. How can you even face them? So it's going to be a challenge, but I think having the right mind, being ready for challenge, can solve this problem that we all really need to. So I want to say thank you.
I just want to say thank you to all of you who are taking up your time to make the issue of this bill your business. Leaving your home over the weekend to come to work is not an easy thing to do. But on behalf of the committees, the joint committees, we want to say thank you. We're looking up to you to make this bill a very, very, very powerful bill that will be fully implemented. So we want everybody hands on the docket to make sure that we get this going. Again, I want to say thank you.
I always say this is a very sensitive bill. We all need to be, one way or the other, touch all of the strings because we don't work for ourselves. We work for the people, and the people involvement is very important. Thanks to the 4 working committees and also the women legislative caucus, the health committee, the judiciary, and then internal affairs and gender, which have intervened. All of our colleagues that are come in support of this bill and say we're going to work along with you people. We say thank you to members of the 4th Estate, our press bureau, our secretariat in the House of Representatives. They are also been supportive in this process. We say thank you to our partners, the Action Aid, UN Women, we have Wongoso, we have the team for the traditional people, Masita and our team, and the rest of the people that are willing to work with us to make this come to the reality. What I would say this morning, we are here on the last day. We're going to be looking at what we have had as a bill, and we're asking the Secretariat to make sure that Tuesday we have a press conference as a working team to inform the public that we were given up to the 6th, which is 2 weeks for plenary to look at the bill and go over informed decision. So that decision, please, Monday, it has to be circulated to the various committees for us to look at it and come up with a decision for our press conference on Tuesday.